This video will show you where to find and how to read the AGP graph in diasend. Firstly, click on the CGM tab. Once you click on that, it will take you through to the standard day tab, which is where you find the AGP graph. At the top of the screen, you'll see that you're able to alter the time period, so it's at 14 days currently. However, we can select 1 week, 2 week, 1 month, or a customized period of time. There's two views that we can see. We can either look at midnight to midnight, which is fantastic at looking at daytime activity, so morning through noon, afternoon and into the evening. Or we can switch to noon, which is fantastic at looking at nighttime activity. So you can see in the center of the graph we have the build up in the evening, through nighttime, into the waking hours. So those two views can be very useful depending on which time of day it is that you want to focus on. Below the graph we have all the statistical information that is derived from the values in this time period. So you can see for the 2 weeks we have 3,450 results, which averages out at a certain number of values per day, and we have a certain number of values that are both in and above and below the set range for this patient. Looking at the graph itself, you see several different portions. So we have the median result, which is indicated by the orange line. So this is the middle result in the data set. Then we have the dark blue area, which is the interquartile range. That means it's a quarter above and a quarter below. Okay, so that's the middle 50% of results. So the middle 50% of results are indicated within that dark blue space. The light blue space, as you'll see here, is 40% above and 40% below. So that's the middle 80% of results. So you can see the vast majority of results fall within the light blue space, with 50% of the results falling within the dark blue. Then we have the dotted line, which is the maximum and minimum results in that space. So by sliding along the graph we can really see where there's different levels of variation. So in an area like this one, so at 7 o'clock in the evening, we're able to see that the grouping is much tighter, so the control is much more consistent at this specific time of day, with a narrow interquartile range and an also very narrow 80% of results within that space. Even though the maximum and minimum are more dispersed, statistically we have a much higher proportion of results that are closer to the median value. If we compare that to somewhere like maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon, perhaps after lunch, we have a much greater level of variation, with the light blue area indicating 80% of results being wide, and then even the dark blue section, the middle 50% of results, being also quite wide. So this would suggest that there's quite a lot of variation from day to day over this 14-day period around the 2 o'clock period. So this is obviously down to the clinician to interpret what these results mean for this specific patient,